Guys, all the cars that you see in these videos are for sale on my website, www.woodsandbarclay.com. Enjoy the video. Hey everyone, welcome back to the series on the 95 E300. And today we're going to do the engine mounts, the climate control relay, and the cruise control module. So let's go ahead and dive in. And guys, the engine mounts on these cars are pretty easy compared to the older model cars with the OM617 engine. So let me show you how to do that. All right, I'm over here on the passenger side, and because you can see here easiest. So right there on top of the engine mount, you see we have a bolt right there. Well, we just undo that, and that mount is now detached. There's also, if we go under the car, there's a bolt there on the bottom, and then we can just slide that mount out. Now, we also have to slightly lift the engine so we can slide that mount out and slide the new one in. And for that, we put in a, go underneath the car, and I use this telescoping jack here. So let me go ahead and dive into that, and we'll show you how it works. All right, it's kind of a tight fit down here, but we got that passenger side bolt loose. There you go. You can see it's loose right there. I just got to take it out. Now we can go over and do the driver's side. All right, guys, we are under the car on the driver's side, and I got, there we go, a socket up there like that, and I've already got it loose. Let me show you. And then we can remove the bolt from the top right there. And we also have, we already loosened this one on the driver's side. There we go, right there. And we'll set these over here. And here's the new Limforder motor mount. And this is what we actually just unscrewed right there from the top of it. There's the new, and Limforder is the OEM supplier. Now, what I've got now is a telescoping jack under the car. Now, if we lift up, okay, I don't know if you guys saw that, but that is now loose from there. We have now lifted, see there's a gap underneath there now. So let me go under, see that's loose. Now let me go under, and we got to get this bolt right here and that bolt right there, and we can get these out of here. All right, and I think these are 17 millimeter, just like the ones on top. Yep, there we go. Got that one out. All right, good. We got that one out. And you can see the ones that go under the car, they're a little bit shorter than the ones that go on top. Now this mount is disconnected. Okay, yeah, we can pull it out of there. All right, now you can see why I wanted to replace them. See the original mount there? See how it's like an inch shorter? It's been compressed. And it wasn't, you know, it's kind of just flattened out a little bit, and it was causing a little vibration. So that's where we're putting the replacements in there. Now, you'll notice there's a tab or a tang right there. There's a slot up there we have to get that lined up in when we put this one back in the car. There you go. You guys can actually see the slot. See right there on the outer edge. See, there's that little slot on the outer edge. That's where that tang has to go through. Oh, there we go. Okay. Got it. There we go. Now, I'm going to go ahead and get my top bolt started. And I do have the, there we go, the tang is in place. That locates it. Okay, good. That's in place. Now I'm going to go ahead and loosely start my bottom one. I don't know if you guys can see me. I'm just coming up here through the, under the car. Okay, I'm just checking my locating tang up there. Make sure that's still in place. All right, good. That mount is in there. Now I haven't tightened it down. Let me go knock out the other side, then we'll lower the car and tighten these down. And there's the passenger side, same thing. It's about an inch lower because it's been squished and compressed. I mean, there, look at the band here and the band here. That's time to replace those. All right, I've got the mounts loosely in. I got the bottom bolts and the top bolts. And we can now remove our telescoping jack. All right, now I'm going to go underneath here and we'll torque the bottom ones. All right, I'm going to get the torque wrench. I'm just getting them to a seat right now. All right. Now we'll lower it. We'll go ahead and tighten down the top ones, and then we'll torque everything. All right, guys, you can see there's our beautiful new engine mount on the driver's side. Got the bolts torqued down. And over here on the passenger side, we actually have a heat shield that goes over the top of it to protect it from the exhaust manifold. And they give you a little sight hole here to make sure that little tang is lined up, which you can see it is. Now, let's go ahead and fire this thing up and see if it idles a little smoother. All right, let's go in here. I think I got the key already in there. Yeah. There's our fresh glow plugs light, the glow plug light from our fresh glow plugs. Now, this is a cold engine. Oh, nice. Guys, look how stable. There's like no vibration. Let me show you guys this. I just set the anti-seize right here. You can see it's barely moving. That is awesome. That's the beauty of new engine mounts. Okay guys, the next thing we want to do, you can see I have the cover removed. It's in the trunk. But this is the relay. I've already got it unplugged here. The Klima relay. There you go. There's your part number. And these are the little, see it just plugs in right there. But these are the ones that you need to open up and, reflow your solder connections, because the solder points can just come a little loose over time. And if you remember in the video when I picked up the car, we lost the AC in West Texas, but I went under here and jiggled this and it like made the connection good again and I got the AC back. But this turns your compressor on and off and it interacts with your climate control. So we're gonna open this up, reflow the solder connections and plug it back in there, and then it'll be good to go for years. Okay, here we are on the bench. I have my soldering iron hooked up right over here. And we want to open up this, here we go. This is the, often it's called the Klima relay, but it's basically the AC compressor relay. This has some circuitry in here that tells your compressor to turn on and off. I just put a little white check mark there so I didn't get this mixed up with the box of other ones that I have. But on the bottom here, there is a little protective coating of clear silicone, and the first thing you do, we want to open this up and resolder some of the connections. That's these they get broken solder connections and become unreliable, and you just resolder them and then they're good to go. So we just want to get out this silicone right here, and we will reapply the clear silicone when we put it back together. There you go. You can see this stuff. It is just a thin layer of silicone. There we go. See how that peels off of there? And we can actually, there we go. We've taken that off. Now there's two little tabs here, here, and on the sides. And the way you get one of these open, you have to wedge a little screwdriver. Just be careful. There we go. You wedge a screwdriver in there. Whoops. And this just lifts it off the tabs so you can slide out the internals. All right, there we go. Boom. See how that worked? That just popped loose. Okay. Now, let me wipe off some of the silicone here. and then it just slides out. And here we go. Here's our little circuit board. And the capacitors are fine, the resistors are fine. That's not what the issue is. What the issue is the little solder points right down here. These are the pins that attach to these pins right here. See, those pins plug into the car, and they run right through here, and they connect to this board right along here. So we just want to reflow that solder. Let's heat up that little spot there. There we go. There we go. See how I'm doing that, guys? See if I can zoom in here to show you. There we go. I've just done those 2 pins right there. Now, I got to go all the way down the line here, make sure those are all good. And then we just need to reassemble it into our case and put it back in the car. And that'll be good to go. These pins will have now a fresh solder connection and make a good circuit. So let me go ahead and knock that out. I've got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 more to go. And I'll come back when it's time for reassembly. Okay, got all my connections good again. Now we want to reassemble this back into our box here. I want to make sure there's none of the little silicone in the way. There we go. And we're just going to slide this guy right back in here like that. Then we're just going to snap it back in. All right, there we go. Easy as that. It's just a little tedious and time consuming to do each one of those little pins. But let's go snap this back in the car. Make sure it works before I reapply the silicone around here. And the way you can make sure it works, when you put it in, turn on the AC, you'll hear your compressor engage and the AC will engage. So let's go try that now. All right, another thing I like to do before sticking it back in the socket right there is spray out our socket with Deoxit. This is electronic parts cleaner. And I'm just going to go right into each one of those little holes there where the pins connect. And then we'll hit it with a little bit of compressed air. All right, then I'm going to hit my socket. There we go, that's all clean in there. Now let's go ahead and put back in our relay. Okay, I just plugged back in our relay here. Make sure it's got a good solid connection. And now let's go crank the car and we'll make sure the AC compressor correctly kicks on. All right, the car is on the lift. You can see I still have it on the lift. It's like a couple of inches up, so there's a little rattling going on out here because of that, but just ignore that. Now what we want to do is put down our AC all the way, turn it on. Beautiful. And the AC compressor did correctly kick on. We have ice cold AC. Okay, there you go. You see the fan clutch is now engaged and the compressor is spinning. And there we go, guys. That is a working climate control relay. All right, as a lot of you guys know that have 124s, these fans, blower fans in here, right now I have it set on low. And if you go to high, it's just like blasting, full blast. There's not really a nice in-between. Sure, you can use the climate control and that will adjust it, but I want to show you something on this car that is a little upgrade. All right, if you look down here, right there, see that little knob right there? That is a potentiometer. It's right there, and you can turn it Little aftermarket edition. You can turn that fast or slow, and you can manually control your AC fan to get it exactly how much air you want to blow. So watch this. So it's on high, it's going full blast. If I reach right under there, I'm turning it right now, and we've just turned that fan all the way down to low. Now watch, you can incrementally increase it a little higher, a little higher, a little higher, and now it's blowing full blast. So you can set the fan speed exactly where you want it. That's a pretty cool feature, and that's just wired into the fan control behind here. And that was done by the previous owner, and it is absolutely awesome. So that way you can just leave your AC on and just put it on high, and then you just, while you're driving, you can just reach right there under the dash and set that fan speed exactly where you want it. And man, that was a huge benefit driving across country. Okay, right now I have it turned all the way up. You guys can hear it blowing in the camera. Now, you can still go to low, and that will override it and put it to low. Or if you go to auto, you can still adjust the climate control. Say we want it like 72 degrees, and the climate control will still work and control your fan speed. But that's just an added feature where if you want to set it at a different speed, that option is there, and it's really nice. All right, guys, the next thing I want to do is install a replacement cruise control module, because my cruise control wasn't working when I came across country. So I've got the module here for the 124, the 95 E300. Also, what we want to do before we get into that, I talked with the owner, the guy I bought the car from, and he already did all the fluids and filters. And I was just over here checking the coolant. So we don't need to do all the fluids and filters because he just recently did them. But since I drove across country, you know, and that's several thousand miles, I do want to go ahead and do a fresh oil change. So let's go ahead and do that now. All right, I know you guys can't see the oil filter cap back here, but you have a couple of 13 millimeters. Okay, to get this filter cap out, there's a little clip right here. So I have the hood gasket, the sealing gasket. I just pulled it off here. And there's a little retaining clip here where you can unclip that and then pull that piece of plastic out of the way, and that allows you to get your oil filter out of there. Now let me get a catch can so I don't drip that everywhere. There we go, and there's our filter. All right, let's go ahead and get our oil drain plug out of here. There we go. All right, we'll let that drain for a minute, put our drain plug back in and get some fresh oil in here. All right, guys, when you're changing your filter, put the O-ring back on here. And you also want to put your, sorry, my hands are all greasy. You want your crush washer to go on the drain plug. That seals it up good. All right, let's get our filter on there and get this back in the car. All right, again, when you're installing this, it helps to be able to pull that back. There we go. All right, once your filter's back in there, you can reconnect the little clip right here and put our gasket back on. Here we go. It's just a press on, guys. There we go. There we go. All right, let's go ahead and get some oil back in here. All right, guys, what we're using today is Lubrication Engineers Monolec engine oil, SAE 15W40. That's what I like to use in these cars. Now, Lubrication Engineers is an awesome oil manufacturer. This is what I used in my race car when I was racing at the national level. It's excellent oil. I also use their oil in my transmission. So they're a great company. I'm going to put Clay's contact info up here. And if you contact him, you get I think it's a 10% discount if you mention Woods and Barclay. Excellent stuff. All right, it's going to take about this whole jug, but we'll pour in like 3/4, and then we'll crank the car, let it circulate through the system, then we'll shut the engine off, let it settle, check our dipstick, and then we'll top it off as needed. All right, guys, now we're going after the cruise control actuator. I'm sorry, the cruise control module. It is under the dash, right up in there. Now you can see I have the floor mat and our plastic or rubber floor mat taken off. I just have it on top of the car. And I've got to come down here. And first we need to remove our lower kick panel. Now, see that little hole right there? There's a plastic screw that I just removed, and here it is right here. That's just a plastic retainer that you have to remove. And then you can get a 9mm socket. Let's see. Okay, whoops, that's not the right one. I think it's 8mm. There you go, it's an 8mm. And we're going to take these guys out. Sorry, there we go, 8mm. We're going to take these guys out right here. Take that one out. And I think there's another one like right there. Sorry, it's hard to record on here, but I'll go ahead and get these out. And then we can remove this lower panel right here. Okay, and then there's another one right there and right over there. See, on the far right. And to get those, you need a very small ratchet. Let's see if I can show you guys. There you go. See how that fits up in there like that? Then you can get these out. All right, now that we got that lower panel loose, we need to remove this upper panel. And to do that, we can use a gauge cluster like pulling tool. We can get it around the back of this panel right here. And I already did it a second ago, so it's already loose. But we pull that panel out, and there we go. We have two 8mm screws behind there. Okay, next over here, we need to remove the headlight switch. There you go, you just pull that off. But we're gonna get a socket and undo this nut. I think it's a 24mm. All right, we have our 24mm. We'll just put that on there. There you go. It's not on there very tight, guys. And then we can just spin that guy off. All right, we'll set our nut over here to the side. And now what this gives us access to is we can now pull this panel. Let's see if I can get a fingernail underneath it. There we go. There we go. We pull this panel off right here, and we want to disconnect. There you go. There's a little switch there, but there we have our 8mm that run along the top. There's one over there. There we go. And we can undo those 8mm and those 8mm. We can then drop this under panel and get access to our cruise control module that's right up in there. Okay, here's the point where I want to disconnect our battery, because that's a hot wire connecting there to that headlight switch. All right, let's see if I can do this one-handed. Well, no, I can't. I'm going to disconnect these two here and remove this piece. Okay, now I can undo those, which I'll do in a minute. We also want to pull our parking brake forward, and you can see there's 3 Phillips screws under there. This will disconnect this parking brake handle from the dash. Okay, guys, I'll remove those 3 8mm there and the 2 there, and you can see at this point, there you go. There's our cruise control module. Now, what I need to do is disconnect, because I want to remove this panel completely. I need to disconnect the parking brake cable from the handle right here. Okay, this required 2 hands, so I didn't show this, but right here on your parking brake cable, the end of it goes through here like that, right? And you see that groove There you go. There's a groove right there. So you basically got to pull the cable over to the side so it lines up with the groove, and then you can pop out the retainer, which, whoops, let me push the handle back in, that fits in that little slot there. When you line it up, you can pull it out of that groove and that pops out. And then the parking brake handle is loose. So, we don't want to pull it out. We're just going to let it sit there. Now we can pull this lower panel out. That is enough right there for me to get access to the 2 bolts that hold the cruise control module in there. So let me go ahead. There's 2 8mm bolts right here, and then I can remove that module. Okay, great. That was just the parking brake that fell there. I'll just set that there. Okay, get these 2 screws out here. There we go, guys. There is our cruise control module. Now I can unplug it. I can reach right up here and just unplug it on the back side. All right. Okay, there's the bad cruise control module. Now, what we can do now, there is our connector. That goes to the cruise control actuator under the hood. That's what plugs into the cruise control module. Now I have a tool, a Mercedes tool, I'm going to plug into that so we can actually test the actuator under the hood to make sure that's working correctly. All right, here's the tool, guys. And see this, I'm sorry the part number is rubbed off, but that's all I can give you. If y'all can figure out what that part number is, you can look this up. But what we have here is this motor switch right here. And when we press that, after plugging it in under the dash right here, the cruise control actuator is actually under the intake right down there. So I hope this is good. Otherwise I have to remove the intake and replace that. But we can listen to it, and I can press the button and it'll move back and forth. Okay guys, I have this plugged in. You can see right there, I have it plugged in to the cable. So we're going to just turn the key to accessory. Okay, so we got battery. So first thing we're going to do is I'm going to move the stalk to make sure this works. Down, up, forward, backward. All right, our stalk is working correctly. That's our cruise control stalk here. Now, if I take this up here to the front of the car, we're going to press the motor button and we're going to listen. Did you hear it? Oh, perfect. Watch the throttle. See? That is correctly working. That's the cruise control motor down there. Perfect. That's our motor button. So we know the stalk and the motor are good. I'll set that there. So that means we just need to put our new module in there and we should be good. So let me install this. Okay, there's our old bad module. I'll send that off to be rebuilt. And we have our new module in there. So I'm going to go ahead, button this back up, and then I'll go ahead and finish putting the bolts in and all the trim pieces. Okay, I've got all the under dash paneling reinstalled. I replaced the cruise control module. I didn't break any clips or anything. What I want to do next is install a kickdown switch. Now I noticed, see that circular retainer and that plug hanging there? A kickdown switch is supposed to be in that retainer and that plug is supposed to be plugged into it. But for some reason, it's missing from this car. Now what that kickdown switch does, when you press your accelerator pedal down, there we go, it hits that switch right there and it makes your transmission drop down a gear. So from 4th gear to 3rd gear. And it's known as the passing switch. And when I was going across country, I thought it was dropping down, but it wasn't behaving like I thought. So I inspected that. And sure enough, the kickdown switch is missing. So next, we're going to go ahead and replace that. I just ordered a genuine Mercedes switch.